Part 55. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 541. Zhang Zizai saw it. He looked down unintentionally and saw the human-shaped water ball. He was naturally familiar with it, because it was the one he saw on Kiri's Hima Island. It even appeared when Tianya was waiting for him on Kiri's Hima Island. Zhang Zizai regarded it as a spirit beside the Undying Talisman Master. After the Undying Talisman Master died, it still served by his side for 10,000 years. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. When he suddenly saw this spirit here at this time, he was actually stunned for a moment. How could it appear here? So that the second doubt immediately appeared. By the way, the Undying Talisman Master was a figure from 10,000 years ago. If this thing can live for 10,000 years, wouldn't it be a god? Two doubts accompanied Zhang Zizai. He widened his eyes and saw that the water-shaped man suddenly appeared under the spherical shield, smashed directly on it, and melted into a ball of water. Even if someone paid attention to this detail, no one would care. The sun god also saw it, but he didn't care. This fusion shield can be said to be the safest place in the world. His expression was extremely calm. Until the water on the water-shaped man actually penetrated into the fusion shield, and in the blink of an eye, a water-shaped man was formed inside the fusion shield. It appeared in front of Zhang Zizai, and even at this time, Zhang Zizai saw it smile at him. At this time, many people had seen it coming in, including the Holy Dragon Emperor, and their expressions were dull, because all this was so incredible. This is the spirit water demon. How could it get in? Most people could only stand there at this juncture. The Holy Dragon Emperor and others were close enough to attack the fusion shield again, and they found that the fusion shield was still so strong. Amid the clamor of the crowd, the sun god frowned. He knew that this was a spirit, but spirits also have strengths and weaknesses. There was no spirit in this world that could threaten it. He stretched out a hand and suppressed the water demon. The water demon was like a real person. Instead of retreating, it advanced directly towards the sun god, and its speed was terrifying. In the flash of lightning, the sun god and the water demon were actually fighting. The water demon was very soft and slippery. The attack of the sun god could only break its body, but in the next moment, its body gathered together again and rushed towards the sun god again. In the blink of an eye, the two had no idea how many battles they had experienced. Zhang Zizai only saw that the water demon quickly approached the sun god. The sun god was still focusing on the fusion evolution symbol, and it seemed that he did not pay enough attention to this strange water demon. So people were shocked to see that the water demon was directly wrapped around the arm of the sun god, and then the sun god cried out in pain. Zhang Zizai suddenly saw that the water on the water demon actually went into his body. In a very short time, the whole water-shaped man melted into it and disappeared in front of everyone, and a black air appeared in the eyes of the sun god. What happened? People stared at the scene in amazement. The water demon actually melted into the body of the sun god. Then, the sun god stood still. The top 3 strong men in the world were actually affected by the water demon and stood still. The ability of the spirit is uncontrollable, and it is not certain how strong it is. Even if it is the same kind, some are strong and some are weak. Some special abilities can be terrible, and their strength is even related to time. The same spirit has different abilities at different times. The fact that the sun god did not force the water demon out may mean that he is at a disadvantage. Although he was not focused enough, it was still incredible to be suppressed by a monster. Zhang Zizai subconsciously hid further away from the 3 of them. In the dead silence, the sun god smiled. Thank you for giving us the source talisman. He said we, not me. The tone of his voice was obviously not that of the sun god. It sounded like it was probably said by the water demon, which meant that the sun god was actually controlled. After he finished speaking, he looked up at the colorful vortex in the sky, clenched the evolution talisman in his hand, and laughed as he walked towards the colorful vortex. The water demon was going to take the evolution talisman to the evolution realm? For the time being, it should be so. But what is its purpose? What happened to the sun god now? If the evolution talisman was taken away, it would be a loss for the entire origin continent. But the key is that the spherical shield is still there, and people outside can't get in. The 3 people inside are too young and can't change the status quo at all. People could only watch as the controlled sun god rushed into the colorful vortex with the evolution symbol and entered it directly. Zhang Zizai had almost no way to change everything that happened today. It was really depressing. Now that the weird water demon took the sun god away, he could only watch. After all, they were not at the same level in age. Comparing with this hundreds of years old monster, there was really no point. This result made the people of the entire origin continent very depressed and disappointed. But just when the upper body of the sun god had entered the colorful vortex and began to be swallowed by the vortex, a sudden change occurred. The sun god moved. A knife appeared in his left hand, which should have been taken out from a space jade pendant. After it appeared, the knife actually chopped directly on his right hand. On his right hand, the evolution symbol was on it. In the flash of lightning, his right hand was broken and fell down, but his body was swallowed by the colorful vortex and disappeared in front of everyone in the blink of an eye. This shows that once the body enters the vortex, it is not completely under his control. Maybe the water demon can't come back. This change once again exceeded people's expectations. The water demon wanted to bring the evolution symbol into the evolution world, so it is obvious that the person who cut off his right hand and made the evolution symbol fall was the sun god himself, not the water demon. The reason why he did this was definitely because he didn't want the water demon to succeed. However, what unknown things are there? That's unknown. The colorful vortex still exists, but the sun god has disappeared. Inside the fusion shield, there are only 3 young men and a hand left. The evolution symbol on the hand has been separated and has become ownerless again. Longzhao, take the evolution symbol quickly, and your sister, the 2 of you work together, the Holy Dragon Emperor reacted quickly. It's a great blessing that the evolution symbol is not lost. Now it's uncertain whether the water demon will come back. The evolution symbol is right in front of us, and we must rush to get it. People saw that it was probably the turn of the Holy Dynasty to be glorious next. After all, they had 2 people in it. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 542. No matter whether Shui Zhen and Sun God come back or not, when the evolution talisman is right in front of you, it is natural to grab it first. Surrounded by sisters Shen Xiao and Ling Xian, this fateful arrangement made Zhang Zizai feel helpless. He smiled and quickly went to grab the evolution talisman. Shen Xiao's reaction was also very fast. She didn't expect Ling Xian to join forces with her. She also unfolded her body skills and moved forward in an instant as fast as a shadow. Her biggest enemy is Zhang Zizai, so she must race against time. After all, she has been defeated before. But she never expected that a beautiful figure would intercept her in front of her. For a moment, the majestic smell of blood came from her body. She pushed it out with a gentle palm, blocking it in front of Sheng Xiao's eyes. Her way. Her sister was the first to stop her. Remember the domain name of this website, Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. This result is also confusing to everyone in the world. Maybe knowing that they all come from the same dynasty, they can probably guess something. Yan'er, Shen Xiao was anxious. She didn't expect to join forces, she just wanted a fair competition, but she never expected that Ling Xian didn't want it, but he didn't want her to get it either. The moment she blocked it, Zhang Zizai easily took the evolution talisman in his hand and threw it into the space jade pendant without saying a word. This was the safest way. As for when to merge, it would depend on how the situation changed next. Everyone saw clearly that Zhang Zizai had obtained the evolution talisman. The Holy Dragon Emperor stared at Princess Lingxian with cold eyes and said, "Long Yan, why are you doing this? Don't you want the Holy Dynasty to be ruined?" Lingxian didn't answer him. Her eyes seemed like she couldn't see anyone outside. She just glanced at Shen Xiao again, then silently stepped back, stood next to Zhang Zizai, and said, "You inherit this Fu Ba, I won't let her cause trouble." This sentence completely showed her attitude. This made Shen Xiao cry. Her eyes were red, but she had nothing to say. Zhang Zizai had a headache. It seemed that the sisters were at odds. It should be related to her death in Xuanhuan. Zhang Zizai glared at Shen Xiao and said, "It seems that you actually harmed her in Xuanhuan? You kept saying that she is your only relative." "No, stop talking nonsense," Shen Xiao gritted his teeth. "Can you touch your conscience and say it?" Zhang Zizai said. "It has nothing to do with her. It's just a matter of different circumstances. It's all in the past, so don't ask." Lingxian lowered her head and said softly. Since the person involved said this, it was inconvenient for Zhang Zizai to intervene. He asked, "Do you really want to give me this evolution talisman? If you want to determine the winner and compete fairly, that's fine." "No, I just don't want her to get it," Lingxian said. This made Shen Xiao so angry that she shed tears. She crossed her arms, but with so many people looking at her, now was the time of glory, so she couldn't ignore her identity. "Do it," Holy Dragon Emperor scolded. "I can't beat the two of them." Shen Xiao turned around helplessly and said. Even Zhang Zizai couldn't defeat him, let alone Lingxian now on his side. The Holy Dragon Emperor was simply furious. People are very curious about the feelings of these three people. Why do they feel that these two sisters are involved with Zhang Zizai? In this case, Zhang Zizai didn't bother to care so much. He glanced outside and saw that the people of Shenzong looked uneasy because of the disappearance of the sun god, and the Xianying god's face was very gloomy. The people in Hades Palace are completely helpless, and the only hopeful Holy Dynasty has no choice now because of Shen Xiao. However, these people will not leave until he truly integrates the evolution talisman. Even if he succeeds, his life will be in danger. But no matter what, let's inherit the evolution talisman and take the initiative. Under the protection of Lingxian, he began to take out the evolution talisman. The so-called inheritance is nothing more than a drop of blood to identify the master. This evolution talisman is basically the same as other divine talismans in this regard. When the blood from his palm dripped on it, the reaction of the talisman was very slow, and white light slowly enveloped it. It was equally difficult for Zhang Zizai's bloodline to completely enter the evolutionary talisman, but in fact, people found that his speed was already several times faster than the sun god. As long as you inherit a small amount of success, you can have this evolution talisman fixed on your body. In half an hour, Zhang Zizai succeeded. He was involved with the evolution talisman, and at the same time, he was also involved with the colorful vortex. That is indeed a door. Through the perception of the evolution symbol, it seems that there is a very vast world behind the door. It feels different from the evolutionary world, or is this the real evolutionary world? Zhang Zizai was confused. Now that the fusion talisman shield still exists, and the sun god has not reappeared in the colorful vortex, Zhang Zizai still has a lot of time to completely inherit this most difficult evolutionary talisman, while others can only watch. I don't know how many people are envious of him at this moment. It may take about 10 days for the true inheritance to be successful, Zhang Zizai deduced based on the speed at which the bloodline entered the evolutionary talisman. Suddenly, what he worried about most happened. The colorful vortex above the head actually started to move. The vortex suddenly rotated in the opposite direction, as if someone was coming down from above. He stood up instantly. "Shen Xiao, probably because he was a little worried, took the initiative to come and stand with them. "Someone's out!" Someone outside exclaimed. Zhang Zizai had already seen it. Someone did come out of the colorful vortex, and there were two of them when they came out. Judging from their clothes and body shapes, they knew that these two people were not the sun gods, but other people from unknown places. Is there anyone out there in the evolutionary world? Isn't that an ancient god? According to legend, there is no one in the evolutionary world. In the blink of an eye, the two people appeared completely, and everyone's eyes were focused on them. Zhang Zizai was shocked to find that they were two teenagers about the same age as him. However, the auras of these two people can be said to be very terrifying. The young man on the left is wearing white clothes and has an extraordinary temperament. His face is very handsome and can be described as the man in the road is like jade, and the sun is unparalleled in the world. Especially those eyes that are as bright as stars, able to see countless things in the world. The boy on the right is tall, similar to Lu Dingxing. He is tall and majestic, has a resolute face, and is righteous. His rough and wild nature brings endless pressure to people. He is a ferocious beast in his bones. He is the first one to come out. In an instant, he set his sights on his prey, Shen Xiao and Ling Xian. The three people in the fusion shield instantly became 5 people. The two young men were in a stable mood and slightly proud. After they came out, he glanced around and looked at everyone. The young man in white said, "Are these all the strong men in this desolate realm? Indeed, the wilderness without China Unicom is so full. Su Junyi, I think it's okay. After all, you see, these 3 people seem to have good talents. Especially these 2 beauties, don't you think they are very interesting? Even in our place, they have some characteristics." The young man in black laughed. "Wu Tianxiang, you must have committed your bad problem again. We are here for the source talisman, and you can't spoil the big thing because of your lust and heart. Let me see who has the source talisman." The young man in white finally locked his eyes on Zhang Zizai. "It's you," he said with a smile. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 543. This is the second time Zhang Zizai has heard the word source symbol. Are these two people from the evolutionary world? Why haven't I met anyone in the evolutionary world? Zhang Zizai was confused. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. These two people had just arrived and were making comments to everyone. Their words were indeed very disdainful and made them sound very uncomfortable. However, because they happened to appear within the fusion talisman shield, the elders could not teach them a lesson. The young man in white fixed his eyes on Zhang Zizai with a look of disdain, and asked leisurely, "Are you going to take the initiative to cut off your hand and give me the source talisman, or should I take it from your body? Generally speaking, we will be too lazy to take action." This tone indeed sounded quite arrogant. Zhang Zizai had not heard of anyone daring to speak like this in front of him for a long time. The elders outside looked at each other in shock. The Holy Dragon Emperor said in a deep voice, "Where are you two from? Are you from the evolutionary world? It's incredible that there are living beings in the world of evolution." Evolutionary world? Haha. The two looked at each other and laughed. What a stupid place. Even the strong men in the first god realm are so ignorant. It's really a great experience. It's true that the world is so vast and full of wonders. The two of them did not answer the Holy Dragon Emperor's question directly, but just laughed with pity on their faces. "You two young men are really brave," Dark Knight God said coldly. "Dare to tease and ridicule the Holy Dragon Emperor like this, it is indeed lawless. Don't scare us. As long as he doesn't completely master the source talisman, the fusion talisman shield protecting him will not disappear, and you can't touch me. It just so happens that this domain realm gate is within the fusion talisman shield, so you guys, you idiot, you can't do anything to us. Although the guy just kept the source talisman by force, we can just come in and take it ourselves. Su Junyi, the young man in white, smiled calmly. Many new terms came out of his mouth. That guy just now? How is he? Xuanhuan Chushan asked quickly. In the hands of our elders, of course he will die, Wu Tianxiang said nonchalantly. It means that the first god of the sun is dead. This is the god in the hearts of many people in Origin continent. He died so easily. So how terrifying are the beings behind these two people? Could it be that they come from the realm of God and are the children of God? Hearing the news, Shenzong was extremely agitated. Who on earth are you? Xianyin Chushan's face turned livid, and she chose not to believe it for the time being. When she asked again, the two young men were too lazy to answer her. They looked at Zhang Zizai and the other three. It seems that these three are the strongest geniuses in this wilderness. It's not bad, but it's also a bit pitiful, Wu Tianxiang said, and then added, it's really beautiful without looks and temperament. Take it back immediately. Let's each pick one. Which one do you choose? Su Junyi squinted his eyes and looked at it. He locked his eyes on Lingxian and said, give this to me. The temperament is just what I like. You like hotter girls, and the one next to her is just right for you. You still know me. This girl's waist looks very powerful. She should be fierce in bed. She suits my taste. When they were commenting on Shen Xiao and Lingxian, they were really indifferent. They ignored Shenglong Emperor and Xuanhuan Chushan. Of course, they didn't care about Zhang Zizai's feelings. Although I don't know where you are from, these shameless and obscene words and attitudes show that you are uneducated. It doesn't look like you are in a good place, Shen Xiao said lightly. It's interesting. You can still quarrel with me in the future. It seems that it will take some time to conquer your body and mind. Wu Tianxiang touched his nose and said with a dumb smile. He then said to Su Junyi, okay, you take away the source talisman as soon as possible, and I will contain these two beauties. When you are done, we will capture one of them. Originally I could just do it myself, but I still want to give you a chance to perform, so as not to embarrass you if both beauties fall in love with me, Su Junyi said with a teasing smile. Stop bragging, so as not to offend the beautiful woman. The two of them acted as if there was no one around. After speaking, Wu Tianxiang directly raised his fingers to Shen Xiao and Lingxian and said, Beauty, come here, serve my brother, and let me experience the exotic customs. Shen Xiao turned his head to look at Zhang Zizai and said, they are all so shameless. You shouldn't be a coward, right? I originally wanted to ask them about their origins, but they won't tell me right now, so let's conquer them first. Zhang Zizai didn't care. He glanced at Lingxian and asked, help me tie him up first. How about one person? If it's 1-on-2, Zhang Zizai will be under a little pressure. Okay, Lingxuan's answer was simple and straightforward. She is a very straightforward person. Maybe she has a deep gap with Shen Xiao now and it is difficult to forgive, but she will put it down before getting down to business. Shen Xiao's eyes lit up a lot when he heard that Lingxian was willing to fight alongside him. It's like we killed the Holy Sun together that day, Shen Xiao said softly. Lingxian didn't answer. That was a crazy day, and it was that day that changed their fate, but they took different paths next. The conversation between the three of them made Su Junyi and Wu Tianxiang laugh. They looked at each other and shook their heads helplessly. The wasteland is the wasteland, just like a dry well that has been abandoned for tens of thousands of years. The most powerful frog in it is just a frog after all, and it doesn't know how high the sky is and how deep the earth is. Su Junyi chuckled. Who cares? Beauty, come and fight. Wu Tianxiang was in high spirits. Facing the siege of Shen Xiao and Lingxian, he directly attacked and showed his tyrannical means. After pretending for so long, it's time to let the origin continent see what they are capable of. Both of them are cosmic totems, and their realm is very high. They have reached the 7th level of the Divine Seal realm. This age and realm are very rare. And the techniques they practice are very advanced. Where did these two people come from? The strong men outside the fusion shield frowned and discussed. Surrounded by Shen Xiao and Ling Xian, Wu Tianxiang's body underwent similar changes to Lu Dingxing's. His already burly body quickly changed into the appearance of a wild beast, a black giant bear with thick skin and hair, and complex totem patterns. Its aura was desolate and ancient, with surging power, like an ancient demon god. One could feel that the strength of his physical body must be very strong. Coupled with top-level skills and top-level totems, he was at least stronger than Ye Chen, who was at the 9th level of the Divine Seal realm. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 544. Shen Xiao's combat power has not changed much, but when her Holy Dragon armor is displayed, combined with the Holy Emperor Dragon Spear and the Holy Emperor Dragon Shield, it still produces a terrible visual impact. The ferocious aura makes Wu Tianxiang praise it. Don't stop talking. She is at the 5th level of the Divine Seal realm, which is one level lower than Zhang Zizhe. This is the reason why she lost to Zhang Zizhe before, otherwise it would be really difficult to win her. Wu Tianxiang also showed off his weapon, which was a black battle axe surrounded by a strong aura of death. It was simply a ferocious magic weapon, and it felt like countless wronged souls were filled with hatred. I didn't expect that your totem could reach the Zhou level, which is interesting. And there are also Kun level divine weapons. Wu Tianxiang looked very surprised. It seemed that he really looked down on this place. My totem is a universe level totem, the sky-holding demon bear totem. This is the prison-breaking axe. People in our world are naturally stronger than you, so are you ready? Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network. Rightward arrow circled M. Wu Tianxiang squinted his eyes and smiled, his eyes constantly wandering around Shen Xiao's figure. The desire in his eyes was very obvious. There was no concealment in this hot look. He was so busy looking at Shen Xiao that he didn't notice that behind him, another girl who looked relatively calm was gushing with blood. Bloody dragon scales quickly covered her body, and her body changed into another appearance in a short period of time. It was an existence full of spikes and scales, and even the horns on her head were so sharp. But this is different from the dragon human beast. The dragon human beast looks stiff, and such changes are full of artistic sense. Every scale is full of beautiful lines. Zhang Zizhe has long seen this kind of change in her totem itself. Well, if Shen Xiao after being covered by the holy dragon armor is like a fighting machine, then the current Princess Ling Xian is more like a killing machine hidden in the sea of blood. With her blood-red eyes and such a body, it seems harmonious. This also made the elders outside stunned. They looked like two little beauties, charming and charming. Once they entered the fighting state, they were so cruel. Faced with their siege, Wu Tianxiang was originally very confident in his magic bear transformation, but at this time he was completely dumbfounded. This is the universe-level totem. Wu Tianxiang saw Lingxuan's totem. The complexity of the bloody dragon totem was obviously different from the universe-level totem. Ling Xian got the blood of the Dragon Man Beast King. Transformation has indeed occurred in the color crystal. Zhang Zizhe still doesn't know whether the source of evolution is the same as her own demonic shadow. Looking at it now, in the demonic part, the transformation of her natal totem is still strong. It is estimated that the changes in the devil part are completely affected by the natal totem. After absorbing it, the natal totem became stronger. As for the shadow part, Zhang Zizhe soon saw that she had a dragon shadow clone, but she only had one clone. To others, Ling Xian was split into two and turned into two identical women. Even their aura and combat power looked exactly the same. It was simply a copy. After all, The evolutionary sources of the two are not exactly the same, so it is understandable that she only has one clone, but it is stronger and almost indistinguishable from the original body. Originally, Wu Tianxiang was fighting with two people. When the battle really started and the scene became extremely heated, the Long Shadow clone appeared, and it turned into three people besieging Wu Tianxiang. Zhang Zizai only took one glance and knew that he would never offend the sisters in the future, because if they were besieged, it would be really miserable. Moreover, they still have the Blood Hell Talisman and the Sacred Fire Talisman in their hands that they have not used yet. Su Junyi took a look, frowned slightly, and said, "I do underestimate these two girls. It seems that we have to fight quickly." His eyes were fixed on Zhang Zizai, and he said that he wanted to fight quickly and stop talking nonsense. He needed to capture Zhang Zizai as soon as possible because Wu Tianxiang might need support. Zhang Zizai saw that his totem was a sword. A sword hung upside down, and it looked as if the tip of the sword was about to pierce the bridge of his nose. Zhang Zizi had seen this totem before, of course it was in the classics. After all, it was a universe-level totem, and there were not many universe-level totems left in reality. This is a very fierce totem, called the Tian-destroying hanging sword totem. Generally, weapons are used as totems. Just like the sword god Palace, it has an innate advantage in the use of divine weapons. For example, Wu Tianxiang's use of the prison-breaking divine axe is relatively average. Even with the support of the Qingtian demonic body, he cannot achieve the same level of mastery as the sword totem master. However, Zhang Zizai is an exception because of his control over the totem divine weapon. No worse than those with sword totems. A white long sword appeared in Su Junyi's hand. The totem patterns on the long sword were like clouds, wandering on the blade. If they occasionally escaped, they would turn into monstrous sword energy. Su Junyi's body was filled with sword aura, and most sword totemists were arrogant. His eyes were full of penetrating power. At this time, he came flying towards Zhang Zizai with his sword, narrowed his eyes, and raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth, saying, "Insect of the wilderness, sit down in a well and look at the sky. Today I will let you see what the great power of swordsmanship is in the great world." Two battles broke out suddenly. Those elders who could not come in to fuse the shield could only watch the battle. In fact, most of them looked worried. The first sun god was pulled into the evolution realm and is dead according to what they said. It seems that the people in the evolution realm want the evolution talisman. If Zhang Zizai loses the battle and loses the evolution talisman, we will probably fall into a more passive situation, because we don't know anything about the evolution realm. Why did the first sun god go to such great lengths to open the evolution realm? He is courting death. If this door is not closed, who knows who will come out from here? If too many strong people appear, we are afraid that we will lose a lot. Evolution realm. I think this is not the evolution realm at all. I just seem to hear them say it is the gate to the domain realm. Most people looked a little hesitant, especially after seeing Su Junyi holding the Xiantian holy sword and displaying the overwhelming sword power. Didn't Zhang Zizai claim to be the best in the world? Let's see if he has the ability to fight against this genius from another world. People squinted their eyes and felt a little uneasy. As they watched, Su Junyi was showing his power. He has already demonstrated the extraordinary power of his totem. After the heaven-slaying sword totem was revealed, countless sword shadows were hanging upside down in the sky. When he looked up, it was like a sky full of bright stars. Countless hanging sword shadows covered Zhang Zizai's sky, and then at this moment, it was like a downpour, crashing down. Every raindrop was a sword energy. The downpour, thousands of swords fell at the same time. If Zhang Zizai had no way out, he would obviously be shattered to pieces, and I'm afraid not even a hair would be left. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 545. When the heavy rain came, Su Junyi had already pressed on. The double attack of Totem and swordsmanship left Zhang Zizai no chance to resist. Gentleman killing sword. His swordsmanship was very domineering. Those sword moves seemed graceful and the movements were stretched, but in fact, each move was murderous. It was definitely a killing sword, and it also had a strong ability to entangle people, sticking Zhang Zizai in his attack range. "You're dead," when his gentleman killing sword stuck to him again and the heavy sword rain from the sky fell, Su Junyi said with a smile. "Stupid." Taiwan Novel Network Rightward arrow. Zhang Zizai cursed with Juxian's catchphrase. "I've seen people who are confident, but I've never seen this guy so confident." When he just came here, his nose was upturned to the sky, thinking he was very powerful. When he thought he was going to deal with Zhang Zizai, he suddenly had lightning and thunder on his body, and dense black lightning wrapped around him. What is this? While he was stunned, a figure with the same lightning all over his body crashed into him. Boom! Su Junyi was dizzy and paralyzed by the electric shock. When he woke up from the stinging pain, a black stick hit his head directly, and with a click, his forehead exploded directly. In an instant, the world was spinning under the severe pain. The pouring sword rain stopped at this moment. People saw that Su Junyi flew out in a spin and hit the fusion shield with hatred. In an instant, his whole body was covered with blood. He slid down the wall of the fusion shield and fell softly to the bottom, leaving only his fingers to move. At this time, Zhang Zizai put away the black stick and landed quietly, as if nothing had happened. In front of his 5 elements demon subduing stick, everything is a paper tiger. With just one stick, this arrogant guy was stunned by Zhang Zizai. If he had paid a little more attention to Zhang Zizai, he might have been able to fight back. The battle started slowly, but ended surprisingly quickly. When they were worried about Zhang Zizai was clean and neat, making this guy roll his eyes and spit foam. What Xiantian holy sword, flew out directly. That's it, many people present were strong. Many people felt a tingling scalp when they saw Zhang Zizai's methods for the first time. But I have to say that it was really relieved. Who made Su Junyi so arrogant before? People who didn't know him really thought he was so powerful. In fact, he was really powerful, just because Zhang Zizai was stronger than him. This time, Zhang Zizai really didn't show too much ability. The power of his new totem has not been tried yet, and there are still many talismans in his hand that have not been used. The 7th level of the Divine Seal realm is only 1 level higher than him. He has even killed Ye Chen, who is at the 9th level of the Divine Seal realm, to the extreme. Although Su Junyi is about the same as Ye Chen, he is not the Zhang Zizai of that day after all. Zhang Zizai's ability is indeed good. Even the Sword God Palace Master of the Divine Sect couldn't help but say at this time. He looked back at Yi Tian, who had a blank look in his eyes. He was only at the 4th level of the Divine Seal realm and had already tried his best to catch up. He thought he was at the same level as Zhang Zizai, but today he saw that he was just a joke. The violence of that stick, hitting his head, could make him die. As the son of the ancient gods, Yi Tian's heart had already collapsed. Of course, Bai Yeling of the Hades Palace was the same. She was blank now and always felt like crying. Her mother, Dark Knight Hades, knew her helplessness and gently patted her on the shoulder. It must be said that the 3 people in the fusion shield are more terrible than the daughter of Hades. The 3 of them are the pride of this era. Not only did Zhang Zizai defeat Su Junyi quickly, but on the other side, Shen Xiao and Ling Xian joined forces, and Wu Tianxiang used the 8 heavenly styles to crush him. However, the reality was that he was directly defeated by the 2 violent girls. He was covered with scars and fell down. He was dying and had lost half of his life. I thought he was so strong, but I just heard you bragging. I can deal with this level by myself. Shen Xiao removed the holy dragon armor and fell down. Her eyes were full of speechlessness. To be honest, she was really scared by the confidence of these 2 people just now. Lingxian didn't actually make a move, because as soon as she made a move, she found that this person was not worth their siege. To be honest, no one outside had thought of such an ending. After all, these two people were really too good at pretending just now. Under the attention of everyone, Zhang Zizhe landed at the bottom of the fusion shield. He directly picked up Su Junyi, who was gasping for breath and dying. "Is he dead?" Zhang Zizhe asked. The other party barely opened his eyes, and when he saw Zhang Zizhe, he actually lost control of his bladder. It was hard to imagine that this could be the elegant young man just now. "It's good that you're not dead. I'll ask you two separately. If you don't answer one question in the same way, both of you will die today. Do you understand?" He kicked Wu Tianxiang next to him. Shen Xiao was also very domineering. He directly reached out and lifted up the sturdy man and slapped him to wake him up. Just now, this guy had a lot of teasing words and a very rogue look. Zhang Zizhe turned his head and found that Wu Tianxiang was screaming. It turned out that his eyes had been blinded by Shen Xiao, and even the part under his crotch was bloody and fleshy. As a man, even if he saw others injured in this part, he shuddered, and looked at Shen Xiao with a little more awe. "Don't become her man, or you may wake up one day and lose your life," he warned himself in his heart. He said to the two people again, "To be honest, I don't have a deep hatred with you. As long as you answer the question seriously, based on the principle of being a guest, I will not only not kill you, but also help you heal your wounds." I know. Su Junyi and Wu Tianxiang trembled and shivered. Zhang Zizhe took out a pen and paper from the space jade pendant. He moved very quickly. In just a few dozen breaths, he filled a page of paper, and then handed it to Shen Xiao, saying, "Just ask the questions I wrote on it. This is the buy-in note. You ask over there. They can't communicate with each other. Ask separately. Under the premise that the two can't communicate, they definitely dare not lie about the same question." "Why do you arrange me?" Shen Xiao took it and looked up at him and asked. "Don't be silly, go quickly." Zhang Zizhe glared at her. "This guy is naughty. The question about the origin of these two people is very important, so the following questions and answers are also very important." Humph! Shen Xiao carried the tall Wu Tianxiang away. Zhang Zizhe didn't have a sound here, so his voice could be heard and even the elders outside could hear it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 546. Zhang Zizhe put down the dying Su Junyi. The other party did not dare to open his eyes. His head was already broken. At this time, he used some spiritual medicine to recover. Zhang Zizhe had sorted out his thoughts just now, so he asked directly. Before asking, he reminded again that as long as one question was different from Wu Tianxiang's answer, they would all die. "You ask it? I lost. In order to survive, I dare not say anything random. This is the best." Zhang Zizhe began to ask, the first question, "Where are you from?" This is a very important question. "Totem world, Zikan realm," Su Junyi said. "What is a totem world?" Zhang Zizhe was stunned for a moment. The other party laughed sarcastically and said, "Your world is a totem world. Of course, it is one of them." "Pa!" Zhang Zizhe slapped him and said, "Speak properly, don't show your superiority." Su Junyi grimaced in pain and looked at Zhang Zizhe angrily, but still admitted it. Zhang Zizhe sorted it out. "So, there are two totem worlds, one is your world, called Zikan realm, and the other is our world. Both worlds are under the god's domain." When this question was raised, the faces of the strong men outside were quite interesting, because they obviously knew nothing about all this. Speaking of which, if this is really the case, they will be very shocked. After all, they did not expect that there are other human worlds outside the origin continent. When Su Junyi heard Zhang Zizai's question, he wanted to laugh, but when he thought of Zhang Zizai's slap, he endured it and said, under the God's domain, there are countless totem worlds, thousands and thousands, and the number is simply unknown. Our Zikan realm is just one of them, but it is just next to your Qingyang realm. Why do I say that you are frogs in the well? It's because you don't know how big the world is, and you think that your place is the whole world. After saying this, Zhang Zizai fell silent. He looked back outside, and everyone was as silent as him. If you dare to lie to me, do you know the consequences? Zhang Zizai asked. I know you are timid and don't dare to believe it. Anyway, you will see the whole thing in the future, so don't scare me, Su Junyi said. He was tough at this time. Keep asking, this is probably true. Our divine sect also has some classics that record the endless world, but they are too old and we don't dare to believe it. Xuanhuan Chushan paused and said, please ask me what the situation is with the Sun Chushan. Does this door lead to their Zikan realm? Poor sentient beings, they don't even know the name of their totem world, which is called Qingyang realm. Under the divine realm, there are countless totem worlds. If people in the totem world can become ancient gods, they can enter the divine realm, right? Zhang Zizai asked. Almost, Su Junyi said helplessly. This door leads to your Zikan realm. Zhang Zizai felt that it was unlikely to lead to the legendary evolutionary world. The other party still smiled and said, wrong, it is the well leading to the God's domain. I came down from the well of the God's domain. What is the well of the God's domain? The God's domain is the passage connecting the major totem worlds. It is the trial place given by the ancient gods to all living beings. There are countless fortunes, opportunities, and relics in it, and there are countless living beings in the totem worlds competing here. Only the most talented and the strongest can stand out and be selected by the ancient gods. Only then can they be qualified to enter the God's domain. It is impossible to cultivate directly in the totem world to become a god. Even if you become a god, you can't enter the God's domain. If you want to enter the God's domain, you must pass through the well of the God's domain. It turned out that there was such a place that connected the God's domain with countless totem worlds. Today, everything that Su Junyi said was too shocking to Zhang Zizai, but he was still young after all. When he first knew the vastness of the origin continent, he felt almost the same. The ones who were really shocked were Xuanhuan Chushan, Shenglongdi, and others. Many of their keys were already deeply rooted, but they didn't expect that this world would be so vast. The well of the God's domain, Zikan realm, Qingyang realm. Everything today has nothing to do with the evolution world itself. They still have too many puzzles, and Su Junyi needs to explain them clearly. What's so special about this talisman? Why is it called the Source Talisman? Zhang Zizai asked. This is also the focus of his question. Su Junyi rolled his eyes and said, the ancient gods bestowed 6 divine talismans on any totem world. The 5 great divine talismans have successors, and the Source Talisman will appear. Only when the 6 great divine talismans gather together can the domain gate be opened, and the whole world has the opportunity to communicate with the outside world and enter the well of the God's domain. The Source Talisman controls the domain gate. At the same time, the controller of the Source Talisman has the opportunity to own a God-level totem. It's that simple. The Source Talisman is the evolution talisman. The first time is to help the controller's totem evolve. The second time is not to open the door to the evolution world, but to open the domain gate to open the passage to the well of the God's domain. This is the real effect of this talisman in hand. Every time the 6 divine symbols gather, the gate of the domain can be opened for 1,000 years. During the 1,000 years, the totem world has the opportunity to enter the well of the divine domain. After 1,000 years, the gate of the domain is closed, and the 6 divine symbols automatically return to find new predestined people. If there is no qualified person in the totem world, then the gate of the domain will be sealed and the totem world will be closed. The reason why I say that you are a wasteland is because the gate of the domain has not been opened for too long. As a result, to this day, your entire world does not know the existence of other totem worlds. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. So that's it? Zhang Zizai finally solved the confusion. In any case, the 6 divine symbols have not appeared at the same time for many tens of thousands of years. The story of the well of the divine domain and the gate of the domain has been completely lost in the origin continent. Maybe the dragon demon who became an ancient god was the last time the gate of the domain was opened, but it seems that he did not notify others, but left by himself. Otherwise, maybe the legend of the well of the divine domain would still be left. That is the passage to the god's domain. He was still a little confused about the well of the god's domain. However, what he wanted to know was why the spirit water demon appeared, and why these 2 people appeared here. Forget it, you ask a difficult question. I know what you want to ask. I will tell you from beginning to end, Su Junyi said. Okay, you tell me. Su Junyi said, there is a kind of spirit that can penetrate very thin world walls. There are such world walls between our Zikan realm and your Qingyang realm. Several decades ago, a senior Shuaki, who was very top in our world, came to you and found that you didn't even know about the well of the divine realm, so he began to arrange for the 6 divine symbols to be born one by one. Your son first God's knowledge of the 6 divine symbols and the evolutionary world was revealed to him by our senior. Most of it was a lie to him, but the source symbol is indeed very important. He didn't lie to him about this. Your beast control symbol and immortal symbol were not all given to you by it. Even the lifeless symbol was guided by him to deliberately kill the person named Yechen in your hands. Otherwise, you think you are so lucky. No wonder the Sun First God knew that there would be a fusion symbol shield and knew that only people carrying divine symbols could enter. But he didn't expect that it was all a conspiracy. Your goal is the source symbol. Yes, as long as we master the source symbol of your world, our people from the Zikan realm can come in. It means that our people control the passage to your world. What are you doing here? You have more origin pillars than our world, and they are worth taking away, Su Junyi said. The origin pillars are the source of totem warriors. The gates of our 2 worlds are very close in the well of the divine domain, almost sticking together, so it is feasible to transfer the origin pillars. People from other totem worlds dare not move your origin pillars and run around. It sounds like the truth is clear. The only surprise is that Senior Shui Qi did not bring the source symbol to the well of the divine domain, so we have to rush in and snatch it before you merge. Zhang Zizai asked, in this case, why don't the strong people in your world come in and let you 2 trash come in? If the strong people come directly, wouldn't they take the source symbol directly? Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 547. Zhang Zizai's question is not unreasonable. They were trapped in the fusion talisman shield, and Zhang Zizai had to inherit the source talisman before they could leave. It just so happened that the prime god of the sun opened the door to the realm within the fusion talisman shield, so that the strong men from the continent where the Qingyang realm originated could not come in. Help, since they can send someone here, why not just bring a strong man from the Tianyuan realm, but let 2 talented teenagers come in? If a strong person came, Zhang Zizai and the others might not even have a chance to know the truth. Under the gaze of the powerful men, Su Junyi said, for the convenience of screening and fairness, the ancient gods divided the well of the divine domain into 3 parts. People of different ages arrive at different wells of the divine domain through the domain gate. There are 3 floors in the well of God's realm. Anyone under 20 years old can enter the well of God's realm on the 1st floor. Those who are between 20 and 50 years old can only enter the well of God's realm on the 2nd floor. Those who are over 50 years old can enter the well of God's realm on the 2nd floor. The well of 3 levels of God's realm. Whether a totem martial artist has the potential to become a god can basically be seen by those under the age of 20. Therefore, the first level of the well of the divine realm has the greatest chance of entering the divine realm. The second level of the well of the divine realm also has many late bloomers. In the well of the third level of the god realm, there are many powerful people in the first god realm who have been wandering around for hundreds of years, but they may also be selected by the god realm and have the opportunity to enter the god realm to practice. What does this have to do with my problem? Zhang Zizai asked. The gate of the realm is opened for the first time. Everyone on your side of the Qingyang realm can enter the well of the divine realm. However, for the well of the divine realm coming from this direction, only the passage to the first layer of the well of the divine realm is opened. Only when the source talisman is fully controlled will the passage to the third level of the well of God's realm be opened. This means that you can all go out now, but only those under the age of 20 can enter the well of God's realm. Senior Zhen went to the well of the third level of the divine realm, and we were notified that we found your entrance and came in to collect the source talisman. I see. Previously, the sun god initially controlled the source talisman. From the outside to the inside, only the passage to the well of the first layer of the divine domain was opened. Only by taking full control can it be fully opened. The mechanism of the origin talisman should also be to prevent strong people from other worlds from harassing other totem worlds. But if people from other worlds directly master the source talisman of Qingyang realm, especially if the gate of the other world is so close to you, it will be even more dangerous. It is equivalent to the gate of your own world, and let others master it, and others stronger. If Su Junyi takes the source talisman and brings it back to their Zikan realm, the Qingyang realm will probably be enslaved from now on. After all, the other party is a world that has been able to enter the well of God's domain for a long time. With the opportunity to communicate with the outside world and learn more things, there is no doubt that they are stronger. Have you all heard this? Do you have any questions? Zhang Zizai asked everyone. He had almost all his own questions. What happened to the first god of the sun? Asked the first god of Xuanhuan. It will definitely not be good if we are caught by our strong men. Maybe there is a chance to save your life, Su Junyi said. Leave them here and exchange them for the sun god, Xuanhuan god said. Zhang Zizai was too lazy to talk to her. He went to Sheng Xiao's side, and Wu Tianxiang was so tortured by this woman that he shivered. I've written all his answers here. Take a look. Shen Xiao gave him the notebook. The handwriting is not bad. It's so beautiful, I can't tell it was written by you, Zhang Zizai said. Shen Xiao rolled his eyes at him and said, hurry up and see what he answers. I guarantee you will be scared to death. Zhang Zizai took a look. Basically, all the responses were similar to Su Junyi's, but not as detailed as Su Junyi's. It seemed that Wu Tianxiang was also completely convinced. I have a question to ask you. Zhang Zizai approached him and whispered in his ear, you have failed, but your world will definitely not give up. What will you do next? Wu Tianxiang was silent. Zhang Zizai pulled out his magic eye, turned it into a sword, and said, think about how to answer this question first. Su Junyi has already answered it. If your answer is even slightly different from his, your head will fall on you, gone in my arms. Zhang Zizai put the sword on his shoulder. Wu Tianxiang took a deep breath. He couldn't see Su Junyi, and it was impossible for him to have the slightest eye contact with Su Junyi. Therefore, in order to survive, he did not dare to speak nonsense, because he could see that Zhang Zizai was definitely the kind of person who meant what he said. People who arrive. It is conceivable that there are such achievements in this place where there is no knowledge. Everyone who is number one in the world has something special about them. You underestimate us in the Purple Chen realm. This time, all of us who are in the well of the first level of the divine realm have received the order and are returning to the gate of the realm, and then come in through your gate of the realm. Everyone wants the credit for the source talisman. The reason why we are so fast is because we happen to be near the gate of your domain. Next, as long as you have not successfully integrated, people will continue to come in. The two of us, his talent and strength can only be considered mid-range in the Zikan realm. Wu Tianxiang was very confident when talking about this. You're bragging, you're still just in the middle, so how strong is it in the upper reaches? Shen Xiao said disdainfully. Haha, summer insects can't talk about ice. Wu Tianxiang laughed, with a hint of irony in his laughter. Shen Xiao still wanted to slap him, but after thinking about it, it didn't make any sense, so he let it go. Returning to Su Junyi, Zhang Zizai asked the same question. Regarding their own positioning, he said, in terms of genius, it is probably in the middle, slightly above the middle. In the first level of the well of the divine domain, there are many people from our Zikan realm who are stronger than us. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. And in the next 10 days, these people will gradually come in until I merge the source symbol, or you grab the source symbol, Zhang Zizai asked. This question made the atmosphere here become serious again. That's right. As for who is coming, it depends on your luck. Some of the top ones may be far away and may not be able to come during this period. However, with the level of U3, I don't think it is possible to keep the source symbol. Under 20 years old, there is a Tianyuan realm, Zhang Zizai asked. Isn't this normal? There are thousands of worlds in the well of the divine domain. Without this level, you can't be called a genius. At this time, the atmosphere on the scene gradually became deep. In other words, our crisis has not been resolved, the Holy Dragon Emperor said. What can we do? Bai Jin Mingshen asked everyone. He certainly had no way. At this time, they could only unite, because they all knew how difficult it would be for them to live and die if they let someone from another world control their life and death. Unless we can break this fusion shield first, we can only rely on the three of them. This fusion shield is the work of the ancient gods, I don't think it's possible. So, we can only rely on the three of them, the Holy Dragon Emperor frowned deeply. Zhang Zizai, don't ask for now, hurry up. If there are any other questions, they can let Shen Xiao and the others ask. Zhang Zizai's task now is to fuse the source symbol as soon as possible. Otherwise, when the geniuses of the Purple Star Realm come one by one, the three of them will not know how they died. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 548. It looks like time is running out. Zhang Zizai took a deep breath. Now it can be said that the fate of the entire Origin continent is now in his hands. No matter what his relationship with the Divine Sect and the Holy Dynasty is, he was born in this world and belongs to this world. When outsiders bully him, he can't help but stand up. After all, this is his hometown, and here is his great Zhongqing city. The source symbol must not be lost, otherwise it will be like your neck, being held in the hands of outsiders, and your fate can only be judged by others. The people of the Zikan realm will not talk about mercy with them. When they come to this world, with their strength, burning, killing, humiliating and looting are very normal. Once the source beast invaded the desolate heaven pass, causing 100,000 deaths and injuries. He had seen that tragic scene in his dream, and it was vivid. If he didn't want the entire Origin continent to fall into despair and suffering, Zhang Zizai could only hurry up. In the face of major events, he showed enough calmness. If the homeland was occupied, who could have a place to stay? He felt that he was sometimes quite selfish and didn't want to care about other people's affairs, but in this matter, he had his own principles and positions. He wanted to fight for the god-level totem and the opportunity to become a god. The source symbol, the door to the realm, could only be in his own hands. If others wanted to take it away, forget it. The most important thing was that now that the fusion symbol shield was not broken and the door to the realm was opened, he was already in a desperate situation. There was no other way except to merge desperately. Just like when Su Junyi first came, either his hand was broken or his life was lost. It was basically the same for other people from the Zikan realm. If their hands were not broken, they couldn't take the source symbol away. He could use the evolution world to escape, but forget it in public. In front of the people of the divine sect, it would definitely be more troublesome if the door to the evolution world was opened. Zhang Zizai had a hunch that the evolution world was even more mysterious than the door to the realm. Once it was exposed, it would definitely suffer a greater disaster. After all, a place full of evolution worlds would probably be incredible to people in other totem worlds. The evolution realm was fabricated by the water demon for the first sun god, right? Where exactly is the real evolution realm? Zhang Zizai secretly asked Su Junyi. It was fabricated by it. The evolution realm is a legend from the divine realm. It has never been shown and does not exist at all, Su Junyi said. This further confirmed Zhang Zizai's idea of hiding the gate of evolution. If the evolution realm appears, will it be strange? That's natural. It is said that the ancient gods of the divine realm are all looking for the evolution realm. Why are you asking this question? Do you know about the evolution realm? Su Junyi asked. Do you think it's possible? Zhang Zizai said. Haha, Su Junyi laughed. He naturally thought it was impossible. Zhang Zizai, don't delay time. If you can master the source talisman, it is also your good fortune. Now the rise and fall of the world depends on you, and it is connected with your destiny. How to fight hard, you should know better than us. If you are not careful, you will be the first to die. The Holy Dragon Emperor was a little anxious. The old talisman master and others also cast a hopeful look. Hurry up! In the underworld palace, the three Hades looked anxious. They had panicked before such a big event, and now they had no time to care about the blood prison talisman. Why are you in such a hurry? Don't worry about it. Who cares if he is a genius from the Purple Star realm? Kill him if he comes. Kill a pair if he comes. Kill the men and warm the bed for the women. Zhang Zizai was annoyed by their urging. He Su Junyi laughed again. Although he was deliberately restraining himself, he still couldn't help laughing out loud. After all, he felt it was too ridiculous. Be honest, Zhang Zizai suddenly slapped him. The slap was so fierce that all his teeth flew out. He rolled on the ground for several times, and half of his face was completely swollen. If you don't want to die, be a grandson, Zhang Zizai said. Su Junyi was furious, but he could only lower his head, but his clenched fists betrayed him. Just inherit the source symbol with all your heart. No matter who comes, we will stop them first. Shen Xiao looked at him and said. Are you sure that the other party is not a small army or crab general? Zhang Zizai said. Try your best. I will interrupt you if I can't stop you, Shen Xiao said. She was firm in her words and very courageous. After all, they were all on the same rope now. Okay, let them see the power of your tigress. Zhang Zizai gave her a thumbs up. I can't spit out ivory from a dog's mouth. Shen Xiao rolled her eyes at him. She turned her face and met Ling Xian's eyes. Just now, she secretly asked Ling Xian to join forces with her because she knew that no matter what, she would help. If there was real hatred, she would have fought to the death long ago. However, Ling Xian quickly looked away. She stood quietly aside, waiting for the arrival of the geniuses of Zikan realm. Yaner. Shen Xiao wanted to step forward. I will not sit idly by and watch in order to survive. Don't worry, she said. But when he said this, it was obvious that he didn't want Shen Xiao to get close to him again. Yet, their strange relationship gave Zhang Zizai a headache. He took out a large number of talismans from the space jade pendant, all of which were his own works. There were many talismans for heroic spirits, evil spirits, and hell, as well as some healing talismans. He threw them all to them. The two of them took them silently without saying much, because the atmosphere had become tense and the enemy could arrive at any time. The atmosphere of killing filled the fusion shield. Wu Tianxiang and Su Junyi were together. They were honest, but when no one was watching, they looked at each other with disdain. If they don't kill us, these three fools will pay the price. When the time comes, we will return the torture we suffered to them 100-fold, Wu Tianxiang whispered. I just want to avenge Zhang Zizai. These two women are left for you to toss. Don't kill them too quickly. Of course, Wu Tianxiang looked at the two beautiful figures with gloomy eyes. Inheriting the source talisman still requires a lot of energy. In order to save time, Zhang Zizai still has to concentrate and ignore what is happening outside for the time being. He used a lot of heroic spirit talismans to protect himself. If he wants to influence him, he must first alarm the heroic spirit talisman. If there is another genius of Su Junyi's level, Shen Xiao and the others will not alarm themselves if there are not many people. These two girls traveled thousands of miles to the Holy Dynasty to pursue the future, but they were on the verge of life and death. Now they have been blessed and can fight for the world. In fact, Zhang Zizai admires their courage and responsibility. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 549. Seeing that he finally focused on the source symbol, the strong men outside breathed a sigh of relief, but in fact, it was still the most tense time, and everyone was looking at the gate of the domain nervously. Not long after the gate of the domain was opened, two people came in, which meant that there would be a lot of people coming in next. Can these three young people stop it? Many people were worried. Remember the domain name of this site, Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow dot. It sounds like if the geniuses of the Purple Star Realm, especially the strongest ones, come in, it will definitely be dangerous. Now we can only hope that these people are too far away, and Zhang Zizai inherits the source symbol fast enough. So, it depends on luck. It's too dangerous to put the fate of our entire world on these three young people. It's not that serious, right? Not serious? That water demon has been dormant here for so many years, and it has taken so much effort. Do you think it's just for sightseeing? Once the gate to the realm is controlled by others, and this group of people is 10 times stronger than us, what's the difference between our entire world and the beasts raised by others? Didn't others even reserve the origin pillar? Without the origin pillar, our entire human race will be ruined. This matter is really serious. When the lifeline is in the hands of others, expecting others to be merciful is cruel to yourself. As expected, the second group of people came out of the gate of the domain after an hour. There was only one person, a woman wearing a black dress with many crystal-like decorations on it. When she walked, she made a tinkling sound, which was very pleasant to the ear. The colorful decorations on her head also looked very cute and exotic. As soon as she came in, she saw Wu Tianxiang and Su Junyi in the corner. How could you be like this? The girl just finished speaking and saw Zhang Zizai in the three of them. She especially noticed the source talisman in Zhang Zizai's hand. Shen Xiao had already stopped her in front of her. Pan Yunyi, the source talisman is in that man's hand, Su Junyi said. Pan Yunyi took a look and said, I know, but why do you want to rob others' source symbols? I heard from my father that there is a newly opened wasteland here, and you can come in and take a look. I didn't expect you to come first. Looking at your behavior, you must have offended these friends. She is very smart. Her strength is similar to Su Junyi. She obviously came alone. If she went up to rob directly, she estimated that her fate would be similar to Su Junyi, so she quickly changed her words. However, this little cleverness is useless in front of many powerful people. If she hadn't come to fight for the source symbol, she wouldn't have come. Now she doesn't take action. When more people from the Zikan realm come, she will join them. When you can defeat them one by one, never wait until they are more in number. Take action, the Holy Dragon Emperor said directly. Alas! Why are you like this? Do you still have the right to entertain guests? I just came here to play, how can you be so random, the girl Pan Yunyi said hurriedly. But Cheng Xiao's face was indifferent. He didn't care what she said at all and attacked directly. She is really a female warrior. She defeated the opponent by herself. The power of the Holy Dragon armor is too strong. Under the armor, it is difficult for the opponent to cause any injury to her. The wilderness is the wilderness, and uncivilized barbarians are barbarians. You fight over a disagreement. What's the difference between you and wild beasts? A bunch of barbarians. Pan Yunyi was completely suppressed and was very angry for a while. Under the suppression of Shen Xiao, she became more and more angry. Wait, we have a large number of people coming here. I was just lucky to find it first. There are only 3 of you in this fusion shield. Sooner or later, you will die. 3 barbarians. It seems that you 3 are the most powerful geniuses in your wilderness. You are so weak. When we take away your source talismans, you will all be a group of livestock. Pa. When she spoke, Sheng Xiao's Holy Emperor Dragon Shield directly covered her forehead. This fierce impact made her kneel down instantly, and she fell to the ground with blood spurting out. Finally, she was thrown to Su Junyi by Shen Xiao while cursing. Bitch, the men of my Zikan realm will rape you sooner or later. Right inside this fusion shield, Pan Yunyi cursed while covering half of her swollen face. Puff! A spear went straight through her throat and stabbed directly into the thigh of Su Junyi behind her, causing Su Junyi to scream in pain. Pan Yunyi did not yell, because she stared at Shen Xiao with wide eyes, her hands trembling, but soon fell down powerlessly. Before she died, she heard Shen Xiao smiling and saying to her, "So what, you can't see it?" Yes, Pan Yunyi fell softly, and no matter what the fate of Shen Xiao was in the future, she couldn't see it. This decisive killing made many powerful people present speechless. They didn't expect Shen Xiao to be so decisive. Do you want to die? She raised her head and asked Wu Tianxiang and Su Junyi. No, the 2 of them looked pale, trembling all over, and shook their heads quickly. Were you discussing just now how you would retaliate against me and make me live a life worse than death when your people come and defeat us? Shen Xiao walked forward, stood in front of them, and asked them coldly. No, absolutely not, we dare not. Su Junyi shook his head, his body still shrinking back. I understand war better than you. Your invasion is a war. You know that war has no mercy, right? Shen Xiao took another step forward. Wu Tianxiang couldn't help it, he said, we just answered all your questions honestly, without a single lie. You should keep your promise. This is the basic principle of being a human being. This chapter is not over, please click the next page to continue reading. Really? But it was Zhang Zizai who promised you not to kill you, not me. Shen Xiao said this, and the Holy Emperor Dragon Spear directly penetrated Su Junyi's chest. Su Junyi was not dead yet, he held the spear with both hands tightly, trying to pull it out. You will not die well. You will not die well. Su Junyi used up his last strength, his eyeballs almost fell out. At least you will not die well. First Shen Xiao pulled out the Holy Emperor Dragon Spear, and Su Junyi fell softly to the ground, his eyes wide open. Don't kill me. Don't kill me, Wu Tianxiang panicked, he was trembling all over, crawling and kneeling on the ground, and kowtowing continuously. If I don't kill you, will you wait for me to live a life worse than death? Shen Xiao asked. I dare not, I absolutely dare not. If I believe you, I'm a pig. Shen Xiao fired the last shot and knew his life. Since then, all 3 of them turned into corpses and lost their voices. She stopped and looked back to see Ling Xian's bloody eyes. Did I do anything wrong? Shen Xiao asked her. Ling Xian did not answer either, but she didn't want to look at her. Nothing wrong, but when their people come down again, there will be no room for reconciliation, Xianyin Chu Shen said. There was no room for reconciliation, Shen Xiao said. As a junior, she dared to talk to Xianyin Chu Shen like this, which made many people look at her with admiration, but it must be said that she was more thorough than Xianyin Chu Shen. This is a war, there is no mercy, only victory and defeat, life and death. She was born in the royal family and was influenced by it since she was a child. This is a very important part of her life. This is something her mother has instilled in her all her life. So, she also hates that woman. But what needs to be thanked is that she finally taught herself how to survive. Now, what she did was to survive. The three bodies showed her determination to protect Zhangzai. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 550. In the next 2 days, a total of 2 people came, one named Kong Zongshu and one named Tengui. One was at the 7th level of the Divine Seal Realm, and the other was at the 6th level of the Divine Seal Realm. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. After they came in, they all encountered Shen Xiao and Ling Xian, and it was Shen Xiao who basically took action. She didn't kill innocent people indiscriminately. For example, the young man named Tengui had a really good attitude, and he didn't reveal his true colors like Pan Yunyi. Moreover, he only came here under the order of his elders. He didn't particularly understand the situation, so Shen Xiao didn't she made things difficult for him, but even if she didn't know anything about it, she beat him until he lost his ability to fight and could only watch from the sidelines. As for the young man named Kong Zongshu, he was similar to Su Junyi. When he first came in, he was also sarcastic. When he saw that Su Junyi and the others were dead, he cursed directly and threatened the forces behind them. He also said that Shen Xiao and the others were dead. He was stronger than Su Junyi, but he still fell to Sheng Xiao's Holy Emperor Dragon Spear. This time, Shen Xiao did not spare his life. Because as long as this person exists, he will be a threat to them until Zhangzai inherits the origin talisman. When I came in, I was very arrogant. I used words such as barbarians and desolate world to describe the people here. After being suppressed, I knelt down and begged for mercy. Such people can have such a good fortune. It seems that being born in the Zikan world and becoming a genius is not as good as in this Jingchen world. The Yang realm is much easier. On the 3rd day, another person arrived. This was a woman wearing a golden robe. She had a very domineering temperament and was obviously from a superior position. After she came in, she only saw Tengui, because at the suggestion of the elders outside, Shen Xiao created a space jade pendant and threw all the people he killed into it. After seeing Zhangzai fused with the source talisman, the woman named Jin Yao took action directly and forced Zhangzai, but Shen Xiao and Ling Xian were still able to intercept her. This person is at the 8th level of the Divine Seal Realm, and is also a eternal level totem, much stronger than the previous ones. This time it was difficult for Shen Xiao to defeat the opponent alone. Ling Xian did not disappoint her and directly joined the battle. At this time, Jin Yao was suppressed and retreated. The power of Ling Xuan's totem is mainly due to the terrifying physical strength after her transformation. She is like a humanoid monster, comparable to a giant beast. After the totem evolves, she has an extra clone. When fighting, it's almost equivalent to 2 dragon human beasts. The brutal attacks of their sisters were nothing like their usual coquettish looks. The 2 of them were simply fighting like wild beasts. Many teenagers were trembling when they saw her. They felt that only Zhangzai could control such a woman in the world. You dare to hurt me? My father is the leader of the Golden God sect. He is stronger than all of you here. The 7 first gods of the Golden God sect, will be able to destroy your entire world by then. After Jin Yao was traumatized by Shen Xiao, he opened his eyes and cursed angrily. Her attitude was arrogant, and until this moment, she was still very fierce. 7 First God Realms, everyone was dumbfounded. The one with the most First God Realms in the origin continent was Hades Palace, and it was only recently that there were 3. The other side, the Golden God sect, actually had 7. Moreover, the status of the Golden God sect in the Zikin realm is not as good as the status of the Life and Death Talisman sect in the origin continent. We'll see, tomorrow at the latest, all 3 of you will die. I've got this source talisman. Barbarians, Jin Yao sneered, and actually wanted to return to the gate of the realm to escape. It's very easy to leave from here, just go out through the domain gate. After she goes out, she must directly find someone to come in. After all, she has already found the door to this realm, and it is very easy to attract people in. However, Shen Xiao and Ling Xian intercepted her in the blink of an eye. Your courage is really amazing, don't you understand? If you offend me, your whole world will be destroyed. Originally, I just wanted to take away your pillar of origin, but now, I want my father to take you and kill all the forces behind you, Jin Yao said fiercely. She was so depressed. When she came to this deserted world, she was taken care of by the young people here. Clean slaughter. These 4 words showed her superior attitude. After coming to this place, she had a very great sense of superiority. It was obvious that she looked down on everyone here, especially when she was about to get the source talisman. She was actually beaten by the gods. Xiao and Ling Xian were injured. Forget it, let her go. Shen Xiao suddenly gave way, leaving everyone puzzled. Jin Yao smiled, swaggered forward, stared at Shen Xiao and Ling Xian and said, you two are quite handsome, and you are quite knowledgeable. How about this, you and I go to Zikin realm? My brother said maybe he will take a liking to you, and if you can become his concubine, you will be like a sparrow flying on a branch. What if not? Shen Xiao asked. Oh, then it depends on the friends I brought here, whether they want to save your lives. Since she was leaving, she must have brought someone with her. People heard that the reason why Shen Xiao gave way was just to let everyone hear what the other party's attitude was. Jin Yao really thought that Shen Xiao and the others were scared, so they gave way to her. Therefore, there was contempt and threats in his words. She was already close to the gate of the realm, so she became even more unscrupulous and said with a smile, you two barbaric bitches from the wilderness, it would be great to have a chance to go out and see the world. It's a pity that you hurt me and you completely lost the chance. If you don't want me to dedicate it to my brother, and if my friends don't like you, then I can only send you to hell. After all, this is the fate of those who dare to hurt me. Awesome. When Shen Xiao said these 2 words, the holy dragon armor quickly possessed him and directly entered the fighting state. Jin Yao was startled. She didn't expect that these 2 cowardly people would have the courage to take action. She hurriedly ran towards the gate of the realm, but someone was faster than her and blocked her way. Blood shadow. In a flash, Jin Yao was knocked out and hit the fusion shield hard. This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. After a fierce battle, Jin Yao's lower abdomen was pierced by Shen Xiao, and she lay limply on the ground. Her eyes were fierce and she laughed and said, you are so courageous. I really can't shed tears until I see the coffin. One last thing to say to you, if my father sees me like this, you, the forces behind you, and everyone around you, they will definitely be exterminated. Shen Xiao looked at her coldly and said nothing. Let me tell you quietly, before I came in, I saw the 4 sons of the Tianhuang Palace. Those are the real geniuses of our Zikin realm. The 4 of them are nearby and will find them here soon. Wait for them. When you arrive, you will be dead, haha. Those 4 are much more noble than me. There are more than 30 first god realms in the emperor's palace behind them, and they are the overlords of our Zikin realm. Just one of you can kill the 3 of you, so why are you still resisting when there is no way out? If you obey earlier, you might even be able to save a life. What realm? Shen Xiao asked. 4 universe-level totems, the 9th level of the Divine Seal realm, and they are only 15 years old, Jin Yao said coldly. In the Zikan world, this kind of talent can be called a genius. Oh, got it? Are you scared? Jin Yao smiled. Afraid? I'm afraid, I'm going to die. You have done something wrong, Jin Yao said. But you won't see them defeat us. What do you mean? Jin Yao gritted his teeth. What answered her was Sheng Xiao's shot, which went directly into her mouth. Shut up, she said calmly.